So you start losing touch with who you are. You start putting up with abusive behaviors. You start putting up with unacceptable situations for the sake of keeping this person around, for the sake of keeping your abuser in your life. Logically, you want to move away from your abuser. You want to move away from abusive people. And yet here we are, compromising our self-worth to ensure that our abusive, lying, cheating narcissist stays in our lives. How does that make any sense? Welcome back to Psychopath Exposure. My name is Kita. Today I wanted to talk about how we sacrifice our integrity and we put up with cheating, breadcrumbing, being the second person, being the side person, the side chick, the side dude in a toxic relationship with a narcissist or a psychopath. Because it's incredible how these toxic, disordered, mentally disturbed individuals have a way, by design, of making us go against ourselves, obliterate our boundaries, our self-worth, our self-esteem. You look back at previous relationships that we may have had before encountering the narcissist. Obviously, those relationships didn't work, or you wouldn't have been with a narcissist afterwards. So look back at those relationships and what kind of stuff that you put up with, or didn't put up with, as a matter of fact, that now with a narcissist you are. Things that back then you would have called out immediately. Things that back then you would look at the person like, if they're, are you crazy? You think you're going to get away with that? Get the hell out of here. Get out of here with that crap, right? And yet with the narcissist, it's like our brains short-circuited. Now we're putting up with all sorts of infidelity, abuse, lying, disappearing acts, ghosting, all sorts of triangulation, manipulation, that clearly you're aware that it's happening. You see it. You're watching videos like this for a reason. You know what's going on. Maybe you're just discovering what this whole thing is called, the label that we put on these people, the disorder that most of them are suffering from. But you know what's going on. And you know it's uncanny. And you know it's out of character for you to be putting up with this kind of crap and to stick around with this type of person. You know it. That's why a lot of people that get out of toxic relationships with narcissists can't forgive themselves years later, after they start tasting some of the fruits of a healed psyche, of a better life, of a better quality of life, but they're still stuck. They look back and they can't forgive themselves for putting up with that type of abuse. They can't forgive themselves for seeing the red flags, for have experienced all that manipulation, to have been aware of it, and to have doubled down on the narcissist. I want to talk about that because it's quite the phenomenon. It's not that you were weak. I mean, we can say things like that to give you a good kick in the butt, to wake you up, but you were under a spell. And people that date or are married or have any type of close relationships with narcissistic individuals, whether it whether it may be romantic, but sometimes it doesn't have to be. It could be a business partner, it could be someone that you're trusting your finances with, someone that's close to you or the family, and you put your blind faith on and they end up betraying you. Normally with, I guess, healthy individuals, this wouldn't be a problem. If something arises that's questionable, you call it out, you get into an argument, or you get into a strong conversation about it. But with a narcissist, the majority of victims tend to avoid conflict. They tend to dance around the problem, walk on eggshells, afraid of pissing off the narcissist, afraid that the narcissist is going to abandon them, walk away, leave them all alone. And when you come out of this nightmare on the other side, when you come out of it, you realize those things that you were afraid of, the very same things that you were afraid of losing the narcissist, being alone, all those things were already happening to you. You understand what I'm saying? You were already in that space that you were afraid to be in. You were already alone. You were already alone. You think you had a partner, but you didn't. They were using you. A lot of you were being deprived of intimacy because the narcissist tends to withhold sex and intimacy. A lot of you were being ghosted. A lot of you had been abandoned. A lot of you had been betrayed. Those things that you were afraid of were already happening. And yet you doubled down, and yet you stuck around. And when you come out of it, you ask yourself, why? How? Like, how did that happen? And I wanted to highlight a comment by Phyllis, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, that pretty much sums it up. So Phyllis says, so similar to my story. Lucky for me, it's only been 16 months. I cannot believe the person I've become. I always swore that I would never accept cheating. Yet, there I was, considering being his bit on the side. Considering being anything to stay in his life. For no reason whatsoever. He is neither good looking, nor has anything going for him. It's like a demonic curse that no one, apart from those that have been through it, can understand. Stay strong, everyone. Thank you, Phyllis. That pretty much sums it up in a nutshell. It's like a demonic curse. It's like a demonic curse. You know what your boundaries were. You know where your non-negotiables were at some point. At some point you knew what your moral compass was. At some point you were strong with these things that aligned with you and your goals and your personality, where you wanted to be, the type of people you wanted to be around, the type of person you wanted to marry, the type of family you wanted. At some point you knew exactly what that was. But you were put under a demonic curse when you got enwrapped with this narcissist. Most people, I would say, do not sign up for a relationship that's going to involve cheating. That's not what, at least nobody that I know signs up to be in a monogamous relationship or in a marriage where they both agree to cheat on each other, or where one party gets the green light to cheat anytime you want. I don't think that's how that works. And yet, as Phyllis says, and yet there I was considering being his bit on the side. I don't know if you meant to say being his bitch on the side, but either way it sounds good to me. Yeah, you start considering those things. Just for the sake of not losing the narcissist completely. For the sake of, well, I'll consider it because I just can't see my life without this person. I'm going to die if this person's no longer in my life. So you start losing touch with who you are. You start putting up with abusive behaviors. You start putting up with unacceptable situations for the sake of keeping this person around, for the sake of keeping your abuser in your life. Logically, you want to move away from your abuser. You want to move away from abusive people. And yet here we are, compromising our self-worth to ensure that our abusive, lying, cheating narcissist stays in our lives. How does that make any sense? Makes no sense at all. We put up with breadcrumbing. Breadcrumbing is, it's the word says it all. You're getting breadcrumbs of attention. You're getting breadcrumbs of romance, breadcrumbs of intimacy, breadcrumbs of the truth, breadcrumbs of information that your partner, who's your number one next to your children and your parents, right? Your partner, person you're supposed to trust 100%. The last person that you would think would be someone you have to worry about lying to you is the one that's withholding information, withholding intimacy, withholding things that anyone else would freely give to you for the sake of keeping them around. And it was interesting when you said that he is neither good looking nor has anything going for him. That's another one that I get a lot. I get that one a lot. At some point you realize I'm not even attracted to this person. This person is a complete loser. Right? How many of you have felt that your narcissist is neither attractive or has nothing going for them? They're complete losers. And there you are, trauma bonded, addicted to this cycle, addicted to the fights and the breakups and the makeups and the ghosting and the longing for their text, the longing for them to hoover, to get into a uncomfortable conversation with the pretense that you're going to end up in bed again because that's what you're craving. That's what you're craving. You're addicted to that toxic sexual energy from your predator, from your abuser, from your cheater, only for the situation to repeat itself again and again and again. And you're only going to get breadcrumbs of it each and every time you go back. So it feels like a demonic curse. It feels like you've been put under a dark spell. I'll say that again because this bell made a sound while I was talking. It feels like you've been put under a dark spell. You are enchanted with this person that a lot of times at some point are not even your type. You are addicted and trauma bonded to someone that's not even your type, that doesn't fit. They're not a good fit for your lifestyle, for where you want to be in life, for the goals that you have for yourself, for everything that you've worked for. And this loser scavenger came into your life to take your shit, to put you through hell, to create trauma, to wreck your nervous system, to rob you of the desire to do the things that you once loved, to rob you of the will to live sometimes. That's what it seems like they came into your life for. But I can tell you, when you get out of this, when you do the work, when you do heal, when you do grow from this, you realize that this person actually came into your life to help you become a better person, to motivate you to get up, to get your ass up, and working hard to rebuild yourself, to rebuild your life, to go after those things that you want, those things that you've always wanted, to go after them like a child who's hungry to play, hungry to get up in the morning and watch cartoons, right? Try to get a kid to wake up Monday through Friday when it's time to go to school, and they'll bitch and complain. But Saturday mornings, they're up super early to go play. Right? Remember that? Remember that energy of getting up at the first light, being excited. You couldn't even sleep because you were excited to get up the next morning to go and do shit. That's what you need to strive for that type of outlook. Not looking backwards and ruminating all the time, which is a symptom of narcissistic abuse, especially when you've been discarded by one of these predators. But the goal should be to get back to that positive, excited, high frequency vibration energy where you were looking forward to every day, excited at what's new, what's going to happen today, what am I going to do, what am I going to learn, what am I going to discover, how much fun am I going to have, how much am I going to get done. That's what these narcissists just don't have. They don't have that life source in them to enjoy life like that. So they steal it from you. They see that zest that you have. They come into your life. They bring you down and they rob you of that energy. And then, after they've turned you into a vegetable, after they sucked you dry of your life force energy, now they throw you away because you no longer serve them. You're no longer good for them anymore. Who wants to date a depressed, anxious, needy, clingy? Pretty much that's what they turn us to. That doesn't want to get up in the morning. That's hyper-focused on what the other person's doing. If things are going good with them, then things are going good with you. But when they're not, then your whole life falls apart. You can't go to work, you're throwing up in the morning, etc., etc., etc. All symptoms of a wrecked nervous system, an anxiety disorder, created by the narcissist, because you did not have this before you met this person. You did not have this when things were good at the beginning of the relationship. These things started developing as the narcissist flipped the switch and began devaluing you and began grooming someone else behind your back, and ultimately threw you away and discarded you and no longer wanted to speak with you and ghosted you and blocked you and disappeared. Who wants to date a vegetable, right? That's the way the narcissist sees you. They see you as that carcass, devoid of all life, devoid of a soul, devoid of energy, devoid of anything that to the narcissist is the equivalent of supply. They sucked you dry. Now they don't want you anymore. It's like you peel an orange, and then you're sucking on the orange and you're eating it, and then there's no more juice. It's just all wrinkled and frail and gross, so you throw it out after you've sucked all the juices from it. That's what the narcissist does to the victims. Why would they want to keep hanging out with you? They wouldn't. But what's messed up is that they turned you into that. It's their fault that happened. And now they resent you, and now they leave. And you're afraid of them leaving, because when you're in that position and you have no will to live anymore, no confidence, no self-worth, no self-esteem, no options, no support system because they stripped it from you as well. The only thing you cling on to is the abuser. You cling on to them. That's the only thing that can validate you and makes you feel good. And that's the trap. That is the trap. When you find yourself in that situation, that's when you have to fuck everything and run. But easier said than done, isn't it? That's why the narcissist keeps winning. Because deep inside they know that all they gotta do is text you, call you, email you, send you some sort of a signal that you somehow still matter to them. And that's enough to get you up and feeling good at that moment. Even though it's your abuser contacting you back, it makes you feel good at that moment to get up and you're excited again. It's like you've been shot with like morphine or something. It's a drug. You're addicted to the narcissist like a drug addict is addicted to their drug choice. You have to break the cycle. You have to force yourself to break away from that cycle. That's the only way you're going to break that spell, that demonic curse. If you keep going back, if you keep taking the drug, you're going to keep getting what you've always gotten. If you're still stuck with the lack of comprehension or acceptance that there are people out there in the world that are disordered and evil and do not have the same levels of empathy as you do, if you're stuck in that place, then things aren't going to get better for you. You have to understand that even though you see the world a certain way, there are people that see it completely the opposite as you. The narcissist is not trying to change you at this point. They already found someone else. They're moving on with their destructive life. They're going to repeat their patterns. But they're not going to change. They're incapable of changing. They have a disorder. But you don't. You don't have that disorder. You can make a change in your life. You can start. You can be the change. You can break the cycle. You can stop the same bullshit from happening every single time these predators try to come back into your life, try to gaslight you by skewing reality, triangulating you with whoever the hell they're screwing now, coming back, trying to take some more of your money, coming back, I need a place to crash, I need a place to sleep, and then you go and you let them stay in your place again. And they're in your place and they're on their phone talking to their new boyfriend or their new girlfriend. Blatantly. You know that's what's going on. They're just using you. And you know it. You gotta kick them out. You can't let them back in. Or you're gonna keep getting more abuse. It's really that simple. Now it's not easy, but it's simple. It's not complicated. Stop trying to look for answers that you already have. You need to start looking for solutions on how to get out of a toxic entanglement like this. No matter how long you've been together, no matter how long they've been in your life, how much of a history you have, things keep getting worse, don't they? You can be the change. And if you need help, I do have a coaching program where we work together one-on-one privately. And I help you figure out the plan. Because you need to make a plan in order to get out of this situation. You can't just wing it. You can't just piss on the wind and hope it just works out because the narcissist is already 10 steps ahead of you. They've been doing this shit over and over and over again to everyone that they've ever hurt and manipulated and screwed over. This is by design for them. But you've never been in a situation like this before. You thought this person had the same intentions that you had and had taken the same vows that you had. You're realizing now that they scammed you. And they're going to keep scamming you. And they're going to keep lying to you. And they're going to keep cheating on you. And they're going to keep telling you what you want to hear, just for them to get what they want to get. So I put a link below in the description where you can get more information on my coaching program. I work with hundreds of survivors of narcissistic abuse, and we figure out this shit together. Together. You're not alone. The narcissist makes you feel like you're alone, and all you have in this world is them. They've planted that seed, but you're not alone. You're not. You're not the first one that has gone through this shit. And you're not going to be the first one either that heals from it, because many other survivors have gotten out and healed and turned their life around. But you got to stop repeating the same bullshit that keeps you in this place in what seems like a cursed destiny. It doesn't have to be that way. You have to learn from the past. That's how you can predict the future. You study the patterns. You study history. Then you can make an accurate prediction of what's going to come next. But you can't be afraid to go into unknown territory. There's honey in those unknown valleys that you're scared to explore. But you're afraid to go out there. And the brain tells you, no, let's just stay here where it's safe, in this dark basement where I'm a prisoner to the only person that I have access to, an abusive, lying narcissist. That's what they make you believe. But it's not true. So start making changes. Be the change that you want to be. I know that sounds cliche, but cliches come from truth. Be the change that you want to be, and things will start changing for you. So if you have a situation where you feel like you've been put under a dark spell, you feel like there's a demonic curse that has changed the way you think, has changed the way you perceive your relationship, has changed the way you normally would respond and handle a situation. If you're aware right now, the person that you're with has completely flipped on you, and instead of responding to that situation logically the way you would if you weren't under a spell, and you notice that you're doing things from a place of fear, and you're dancing around and you're walking on eggshells and you have all this anxiety, and it's not what your friends or your family around you knows about you. They ask you, like, who are you? I don't even know who you are anymore. If that's the situation, if you feel that's going on in your life, you may just be dating a psychopath, a narcissist. You just may be in one of these really highly toxic relationships that we're talking about here. Drop a comment in the comment section below with your situation, and you'll see how many people just like you are going through the same thing, same stories, same patterns. And share your experiences with us, and I'll highlight the best comment and give you some feedback, maybe some tips on what you can do today to make a difference and to make that change. If you got some value out of the video, please share with anyone you feel may benefit from this information. Drop a like, subscribe, you know the deal. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. My name is Kita, and this is Psychopath Exposure. Have yourself an awesome rest of the day, and we'll talk soon. Peace.